Welcome back to the channel. So excited to see the M2 has finally arrived. This is the G87 chassis. It's a 2023 model. It is our HEA model, which means basically dealer first spec, or I always forget the German meaning of it. Basically, it's the first builds for dealers to demo. And obviously this one's pretty late. It is now, as of filming, April 11th, and the launch was April 8th. So it took a while to get here for some strange reason. So when they were first sort of dropped into the dealer's system, we got what appears to be assigned randomly. We located ours. Ours was in the port of Jersey, in New Jersey. I don't know why they didn't just assign us one at Oxnard, but that was the case, and then had to get trucked or shipped or whatever happened over to Oxnard, where it sat and sat and sat. And sadly, ours is late. But this one is in Brooklyn Gray, one of the 5 colors you can get on the brand new G87 M2. And obviously, the video is going to be really late compared to other ones, even though Doug DeMiro, as of right now, just released his take on the M2. I have not watched that one yet. But I guess controversial sort of styling choices, I don't know. But obviously the front end is probably the more talked about. So it's basically really a rectangle shape here. And it's, I think, pretty interesting. So start with the grills. You have the new horizontal slats, which first appeared in the M3, M4, now on the M2 and also on the XM. Of course, now we'll also be on the X5 and X6Ms, our M2 badging. And we do have the 50th anniversary BMW M emblems, which will only be, at least from the factory, on the dealer first spec ones, like the HEA models that we're talking about here. Our intakes are very angular. I think you really want to do is the carbon fiber intake, so the exterior package, whatever it's called, which changes the way this looks. It makes it look a lot more aggressive. And here, the middle of the grille, this cutout here is for the active cruise control. If you were to get that spec'd on your automatic transmission only. And basically, not a lot of protection here going into the grille and into the radiator. I believe that's the oil cooler right there as well. So we'll back up. You notice we don't have any parking assistance cameras on here. You do have a parking assistance package, but it's not the camera system, so it's no 360 cameras that you would find on the comparable M240i. So other change is the headlights from the M240i. Similar halo shape here, but this piece here, that's different. We have the adaptive lights with the cornering lights. You can see the cornering light right there. That's part of the lighting package. And we've got our hood bulge carried over from the regular 2 Series coupe. Over on the side, we have our style 930M wheels. So 19 inches up front, 20 inches back, just like the big brother M3, M4. But the wheels are essentially, it looks like the 826s. And I've learned that those are cast rather than forged. And we got our blue M Sport, which will be M compound calipers. And sadly, we got the Pirelli P0s. Now, I want to make sure you guys know this height is how it looks off the truck. Again, the timing of this one couldn't be worse, so I will be on my way to the Grand Prix of Long Beach in a couple days. I'm not sure if I will have the opportunity to film it post PDI, so I'll make sure we do have that video of the M2 up there. We'll take a step back. We'll dive a little bit deeper into the styling cues on this one. So I think we'll do a longer stop on the other side here because it doesn't have the protective film and sort of styrofoam on the side. But styrofoam, I think, looks really good. And the other thing is really boxed out and flared out fenders. So hopefully this is coming out on the video here. So a lot of extra spacing here and flared out fenders on the front track. And again, no usual side breather gill or side gill on the M2. First time in quite some time that has not happened. And doors, handles basically from the 2 Series. Now I think something sort of weird is this sort of vertical line here for the rear fenders. But it looks really aggressive, and it gets sort of that E30 vibe, how boxed and flared out these are. And moving out back, so lots of changes from the back end, at least in terms of width from the regular 2 Series coupe. So you have our quad exhaust in chrome finish, M2 badging, and then the sculpted tail lights. So look really good on the 2 Series, and I think also on the M2, a little bit more wider because of this flared out. Look how wide this car sits compared to, say, well, obviously I can't compare it right now to the 2 Series coupe, but it's really flared out. The other thing is this sort of gets exaggerated in pictures, but it's a really good design, I think. So really comes out, it's prominent, but not overly so. Now I have our gurney flap in body color. You can see we also optioned, well, we didn't, BMW optioned this for us, the carbon fiber roof, which is a first on the M2 other than, say, the CS, of course. We'll take a step back and look at the undisturbed side profile of the M2 in Brooklyn Gray. This looks real aggressive. You can really see the pronounced fenders, front and rear from the side view, even though we're not getting sort of that look from the side. You see that those vertical cuts, you see towards the rear and then up at the front, really accentuate the aggressive nature of those flares. So very, at least to me, E30 vibes. And then up front, I'd say maybe a more modern interpretation of the E36 front end, which was quite boxy. I think that's my vibe from it. All right, so let's go take a look at the inside. Then we've got our side mirror caps. Not quite fistable. So, opening up, we've got the black Vernasca leather with the M color highlights, which if you're going with the regular seats here, at least in the US market, this is what I think you want to spec. I mean, you're not going to get these seats on any other vehicle. It's really looks good. But basically, seats from the M3, well, technically it's the M4 really, because they fold, but really good looking. Your other choices are black Vernasca leather, as well as cognac, which I think would be interesting, but I think that would probably go best with, say, like a black or the Toronto red. Maybe you can stretch it and get with the cognac. But I really think if you want the M2 and you want to cut a little bit of weight, you've got to go for the M carbon bucket seats. And unfortunately, that's not a separate option. It requires the, at least in the United States, the carbon package, I think it's called, which would include the seats, the roof, and then the M driver's package. It's unfortunate you can't spec them separately, but if you're going for two, you get the M driver's package, which you can use at the performance driving school for any other course you want to take for that, including, like, say, like the GT4 experience, which is what you really should do if you want to drive a factory race car. Then we got the tricolor highlights there for the ambient lighting that come from, of course, the M240i. And then this is also lifted from the regular 2 Series, all the triangular shapes there, which disappear on the M2. Then inside, got our usual iDrive 8. Let's hop in. All right, so got our steering wheel, carbon fiber inserts, and then carbon fiber shift paddles, red M1 and M2 buttons for your memory buttons for your drive settings and all the other stuff that you want to save to a quick button. Live Cockpit Pro, I guess is what they're still calling it. We do have the heads-up display as well, which is an $1,100 option. Which I should also mention is a first from the M2. I got the carbon fiber interior trim in gloss black, and the previous one was basically dry, I think you'd probably call it. So basically mirrors the M3, M4 interiors. Got your gear selector with the M embossed emblem and the tricolor stitching, also on the steering wheel. Your iDrive 8 screen. One thing I want to point out about iDrive 8 that I noticed in one of the reviews in particular is that getting to certain settings looks like this, basically like an iPad screen. And they said it was really hard to figure out where things were, even though there are some sort of shortcuts, all apps, infotainment, and then vehicle apps. But what you can do is, just like on your phone or iPad, you can drag and drop what you use most frequently and put them in easy to reach areas, and really easy to reach in terms of the iDrive controller that you can also use rather than using a touchscreen. But you can basically drag and drop to your favorites. Oops, let me press and hold and then put it in there, and rearrange how those icons look. So you want to put your most used ones up at the top, of course, or you can also use the shortcuts. And basically what you can do is, like the M-Drift Analyzer, press and hold, add to the shortcuts. Now you have the pull-down menu, which you can do swipe down, like so, and then swipe it back up. Or you could use the iDrive controller. You push up, that brings down that menu again, and push down will erase it or put it back up. All right, so let's talk about pricing. So the starting price of the M2 Coupe, $62,200, and from memory, I think it's around $10,000 difference from the OG 2016 M2. Vulcan Gray Metallic, another $650. The Vernasca leather with M stitching or M tricolor highlights, whatever it's called, is included. Lighting package for another $650. $300 for remote engine start. $200 for the emblems, which is weird because all the M cars would have had that included, but this one is a charge. And I looked, and this one was built back in December. Then we got our carbon fiber trim for $900, and then $2,600 for the carbon fiber roof, $1,100 for the Live Cockpit Pro, including the heads-up display. Then all told, MSRP of $69,495. Now, just like the M3 and M4, it does come with the Harman Kardon sound system as standard. But you also got the M-Drift Analyzer included in your price. That was basically a $900 option for the what they call the M-Drive Professional on the M3, M4. It is included with your M2, so a little bit of a deal, I'd say. All right, let's take a look at the back. All right, so getting in the back seat, just like your 2 Series Coupe. So all the protection, saw the protective coverings on the seats. All right, so here's the view for the back seat. And then, I didn't adjust the seat to where I normally sit, so this is probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but knee room and leg room can be a bit problematic. And then the other issue is headroom. Again, I'm about 5'11", and it will be a little bit uncomfortable. I'd say it's a little bit less roomy than the OG M2, which I have at home. They're M stitching seat belts. Really great touch. Glad it's included. It's a really nice feature. All right, and we'll get out. But of note, not only do the carbon fiber bucket seats save you weight, but they'll also give you a little bit more room in the back seat for your rear passengers. All right, let's make our way to the back here. I don't believe this will have kick to open. None of the M cars or M3, M4 range does have it, so no. Not a powered trunk either, or boot lid. And inside, I'd say decent size for a trunk for a car this size and in this segment. There's no extra space below the floor there. There's no hidden compartments. Alright, let's make our way to the front. Pause and take a look at this. This is a really good angle for the car too, the 3/4 rear view. And the side view is a really good look as well. Front end, I think it's going to be more about how you feel about it. Alright, so underneath the hood is a detuned S58 inline-six 3-liter twin-turbo engine. So it's 453 horsepower, I want to say, and 406 torques. So in terms of torque, the same as the base M3, M4 with the manual transmission. And then you've also got a reduction in power, about 20 horsepower or so, off the 473 for the M3, M4. So not bad in terms of power. I think it's 9 horsepower more than the M2 CS. And it's a lot of power. Of course, the car does weigh a bit more as well. We'll pause again here and take a look at the front end. So again, ride height hasn't been adjusted yet. It still has the shipping blocks in there. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about this car here. This is not how it looks when it's ready for basically delivery. Pause again here at the front 3/4 look. Now, I think the front end works pretty well. I don't mind it. Is it as elegant as the previous gen OG M2? Front end, probably not. But this is a really interesting and really good look. I think will probably grow on many people over time. And I'm excited to see how this one drives. Not only on the street, but on the track as well. So hopefully I bet you get those ones out there at either say like M-Track days or the performance driving school. I know they're still waiting for their M2s. I'm told they're still in Mexico, which means they've been built. So just a matter of time before they show up at the performance driving schools. But that's it for a rather long tour around the brand new M2. See you in the next video.